Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of your pre-recorded video presentation. This is Jai B. Palar Gorpio, giving you the best learning online. So come on, grab your pen and paper, join me as we start. Have you heard about assessment? How about the impact of assessment on teaching and learning across the subject? Now, we will find out in this discussion, so listen attentively. Our topic for today's discussion is all about reflecting on the impact of assessment on teaching and learning across the subject. Assessment. Assessment is the process of evaluating, measuring, and documenting learners' knowledge, skills, and abilities and understanding in a specific area or subject. Assessment also is used to determine what students have learned and identify areas for improvement, and also provide feedback to both students and educators. Assessment also can take various forms, including tests, quizzes, assignments, observations, presentations, and practical tasks, and can be either formative assessment or summative assessment. Now let's proceed to the positive impact of assessment on teaching and learning. The first impact of assessment on teaching and learning is guide instructional planning and teaching strategies. Assessments help the teachers see how well the students understand the material, and by knowing what students are doing well on and where they are struggling. So teachers can change their lessons to better suit their students' needs. And this way, teaching becomes more effective and focus on helping students learn better. So the second positive impact of assessment on teaching and learning is to identify learning gaps. So some assessments, like quizzes or class activities, are designed to show where the students have gaps in their knowledge or skills. And by finding out which specific area students find it challenging, teachers can provide extra help or practice to make sure everyone is keeping up. Next is to encourage active learning. Good assessments encourage students to participate actively in their learning. For example, projects or investigations make the students use what they know to solve real-world problems. And this kind of learning is often more meaningful and helps students understand the material better because they see how it applies outside the classroom. The next one is to promote self-reflection and metacognition. Assessments that ask students to evaluate their own work or that of their peers help them think about how they learn. They can identify what they are good and what they are need to work on. This will help the students or them to develop skills to think about their thinking, which is important for becoming independent learners. The next positive impact of assessment on teaching and learning is to provide feedback for improvement. Good assessments give students useful feedback about how they are doing, and this feedback tells them what they have done well and what they need to work on. So getting this feedback regularly helps the students to learn and grow because they know exactly what to improve. So the last positive impact of assessment on teaching and learning is to motivate students. So when students see that the assessment as fair and helpful, they are more likely to be motivated to study and do well. So they feel encouraged to take charge of their own learning, to set goals and to work hard to achieve them. And this positive view of assessment can lead to more engaged and motivated classroom. Now let's proceed to the negative impact of assessment on teaching and learning. So the first negative impact of assessment of teaching and learning is promote teaching to the test. So when school place a lot of importance on the standardized tests, teachers might end up focusing mainly on the material that will be on the test. So this means that they will spend less time on the other interesting topics or activities that will help the students to think creatively and critically. So as a result, learning can be more about memorizing facts rather than truly understanding the subject. So the second one is induced stress and anxiety. So when the students have to take a lot of big or important tests, it can cause them to feel very stressed or anxious. So this stress can make it harder for them to do well on the test and might make them feel negatively about school and the learning in general. The next one is discourage risk taking and creativity. So if the test only reward answers that are right or wrong and focus on memorizing facts, students might be less willing to think outside the box or try new ways of solving problems. So instead, they might just focus on memorizing what they think will be on the test rather than really trying to understand the material. So the next negative impact of assessment on teaching and learning is may not reflect on true learning. So not all tests are good at showing what a student truly understands or can do. Sometimes students might know the material but perform poorly in a test because they are nervous or because the test doesn't suit their learning style. And other factors like language differences or cultural background can also affect how a well student does, even if they understand the material. The next one is to promote inequity. High stakes tests can be unfair, especially to those students from disadvantaged backgrounds. These students may not have access to extra help like tutoring or resources that can improve their test scores. So as a result, the test might not fairly reflect what these students know or can do. The last negative impact of assessment on learning and teaching is reduced instructional time. So, when preparing for and taking too many tests can take away a lot of time that could be used for actual learning. So, instead of engaging in hands on activities or exploring subjects in deep, students and teachers might spend too much time on repetitive test preparation, making the learning less interesting. So, in summary, effective assessment practices are central to improving teaching and learning across the subjects. And also, assessments should be varied, fair, and aligned with the instructional goals to maximize their impact. And also, teachers and students should view that assessment as tools for growth rather than mere evaluations. So that's the end of my discussion about reflecting on the impact of assessment on teaching and learning across subjects. I hope you learned something.